All right, we're COMP397, and it's week 1, lesson 1, part 1, and we're talking about the beginnings of things. And what we're here to do, we are web game programming. That's what we do. So again, if you're not a game player, if this is an optional course that you've kind of found yourself into, like you found, hey, this is just an option, I might take this instead of some kind of gen ed, you're going to be in for a surprise because this is a programming course. Okay, this is not a bird course. This is not something that's going to be easy. It's going to be something you have to work at. There are going to be several. I do project-based work, so most of the work is going to be stuff that you're going to build. I'm also really great at catching cheaters. So if you're one of those kind of people who like to cheat, right, as an example, I am like super good at finding you guys out. So please don't cheat, right? I'm just telling you that ahead of time, just from an enormous perspective. I pretty much start right at the beginning, so it's we're right around 8:30 in the morning. I go, right? In terms of our outline, I'd like to say that, again, we're going to be slightly different from the outline that's up online. If you go to, if you do have the outline for the course, which I will share with you, it's a little bit out of date. And there's a book that is recommended that you buy for the course. I'm not sure that I would recommend that book right now. Things are changing, and in June we're going to be coming up with a different course outline. So I will recommend a book to you that you can use for this course, but nothing that you'll have to buy. I don't recommend you buy anything, and especially I'm of the mind, I'll be honest with you, as a professor, I think that buying computer books is just crazy, right? Why? Because things change so much, right? Unless you're doing something traditional like C#, Java, something that's not going to change so much. But on the web, every 3 months, at the latest, things are going to change so much. If I publish a book, if we all write the book together, here, let's write the book. Come to my house. We'll sit on the porch. Right? We'll have our coffee and whatever else. And then we'll write the book together. And 3 months later, it's going to be out of date. Why? Because that's how it goes, guys. Things change so much. Development happens on the web like crazy. So that's why I'm saying I'm not a big proponent of buying a book. And if I could write a book, I'd write it so that it's like $10. It's only for the course, right? And then see you later, right? Unfortunately, I don't have the time for that right now, although that is in the works. Okay, so that's one thing from a book perspective, how we're going to outline this. So let's take a look at I kind of break things down from a folder perspective. So we've got a couple lessons today and this week and next week. We're going to be doing kind of an intro to the environment that I'm going to be talking about. We're going to get used to Visual Studio 2015, which is the environment we're going to be using. And you might say, Tom, web programming with Visual Studio, that's kind of weird, right? I know you did it with Expression Web, right? I'll be honest with you, Expression Web is like 2008, right? So, it's not bad. It's a drag and drop environment. We're not doing drag and drop here. In fact, if anything, for web game programming, like I said, it's a programming course, right? So that means there is no real drag and drop here. There'll be some aspects of it, but we'll talk about the advantage of using Visual Studio over other editors and IDEs out there. Like I said earlier, we're going to be using TypeScript as our language of choice, which is kind of like syntactic sugar for JavaScript. It actually is JavaScript, but it's pushing towards the latest standard, and I'll explain that. It allows us to be object-oriented, so if you've done COMP 100 and COMP 123, right? You should have those two underneath you if you've done those, right? You guys haven't done Programming 3 yet, right? Programming 1 and 2? This semester you're doing Programming 3, right? So with that, you'll be getting some, you'll be getting close to, or closer to, if I can get the people who have not signed in to sign in, please. You can pass that down. Thank you. So with those two programs in the background, you've had a couple of programming classes by now. So this is not something that you're going to look at and go, I've never done any object-oriented programming before, right? It's not going to be like that. Yeah, you do what you have to do, man. So, so that means we're going to use object-oriented techniques. We're going to do it for the web. Everything we build in this course is going to be web compliant. There's going to be a couple things I'm going to ask you to do that are a little bit different. One, everything you do for me is going to be live. Okay, I don't want you guys to, program a game that's going to be something that I'm going to load up in my browser, like here locally or for you. I want your game to be live, which means you have to kind of load it somewhere. You have to kind of put it somewhere so I can take a look at it. Every assignment that you'll get there'll be a GitHub component. Who's done GitHub before? I thought so. And maybe a little bit, right? So what is GitHub? We'll talk about what the hell GitHub is anyway, right? Because it's important technology that you should know as a developer, right? So GitHub, that's part of it. And I also want you to develop your own documentation, if you will. And what I mean by that is because there'll be an external component to every one of your assignments. I want you to develop your own little logo, right? If you haven't done that before, that's okay. If you're not a graphic artist, that's okay. It might be just as simple as putting, a couple of initials together in a graphics program, which we'll talk about a couple of different graphics programs you can use, and then kind of making it your own. So every time you kind of set up an assignment for me, there's going to be an external document with your logo to say, hey, this is me. This is my stamp, right? So I know it's you and it's not somebody else. All right, there's also internal documentation. Who knows what internal documentation is? Come on, guys. It's around 8:30 in the morning, but I need you guys to tell me what it is. Diego, tell me what it is.
Documentation for you to remember what.
Kind of, right? But internal, when I say internal or external, external means external document, like some kind of Word document. Internal document means comments, right? What kind of comments are you going to put inside your code? Give me some comments that tell me, hey, what does this piece of code do in here? And we'll talk about documentation best practices and how to do that. It's important because we need to do both internal and external documentation. Internal documentation because, you know what? You're going to look at it today. Let's say we do a website today. And by the way, even though you're doing web game programming, anything we do here is like building a larger application, right? So imagine in the future you're working for a company, right? And the company you're working for wants you to build an application on the web, right? Well, the stuff we learned today, did you sign in? Anyone not sign in? Everything that we do here, the stuff we learn, the way we modularize our code and so on, when we internally document and externally document our code by creating a design document, all these kinds of things, makes us more marketable because we do the same kind of things as we do in the real world. Okay? In the real world, you're going to create a design document. If you're making games, a game design document. If you're making websites, a style guide, right? Those two kind of things. So it's nothing new that you're going to see here. Who's ever done an external document for a course? Okay, some people have. That's good. If you haven't done one before, don't be shocked. We're going to do one. One of your first assignments is doing this external document. We're going to do a little bit of coding for the first assignment, but really it's all around how do I document stuff? Right? So we'll talk about that a little bit. People are really wandering in late, eh? I take attendance because I look at patterns, just letting you know, right? So I look at who comes in, who doesn't come in. To be successful in this course, I can put as many videos as I want online and give you as many PowerPoints as I want to. I can do demos, right? But the only way you're going to get good is if you're here in class and follow along and actually do the demo with me. We're here for 3 hours on Tuesdays at 8:30, right? And some of you aren't warning people, right? It's okay to bring coffee in the class. It's okay to eat in the class. It's okay to do all that kind of stuff. Just don't eat over your computer, right? Don't kill the computer in front of you, right? And don't bring stinky food in the class. If it's really stinky, like it's bad, right? And it smells the entire class up, that's bad. Otherwise, I don't mind. Just keep clean and everything's good. Okay, so yes, we talk about these first 2 weeks is kind of like the first week is going to be orientation. Today is a very important day because I'm going to get you guys to get your first 1% for the course today, right? So if you're here today and if you do what I ask you to do, by the end of the day, pretty much you'll get your 1%. If you're not here today, tough. You're not going to get it, right? It's your bonus mark that you're going to get, right? It actually counts as an additional mark on your final. We'll talk about that, what I want you guys to do. So this week is, again, all that. Next week, again, JavaScript. We're going to talk more JavaScript. And then we're going to get into assignment 1 by week 3. I might push up the schedule a little bit and give you your assignment next week. And the reason for that is because I think the faster we push forward with this course, the more time you're going to have for the final. We will have a midterm exam. All right. I don't like exams, period. I think they're a waste of time myself. Right. I'm talking about like multiple choice at this level. When you're lower levels and you want to know, like, for example, you want to know about some terminology, those kind of things, it's okay, right? But a huge exam, like 100 questions, true and false multiple choice, blah, 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 not really a big fan, right? So if you do get any kind of multiple choice exam or anything like that, it'll be like short, 20 questions, and it'll kind of it'll be complemented by some kind of practical piece to it. I always do practical in my exams. There will not be a final exam to this course. I don't do final exams, right, in this particular course. This course will have a final project and a presentation, right? Which means, and by the way, the final project will be, you can do alone or in a team of 2 people. And the reason that I do these kind of things is because you really get tested, again, a more project-based learning. I believe in that more. You'll get your final project, as you see here, around week 10. It's probably when I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to try and give it to you as early as I can, right? And the reason for that is it gives you enough time to plan. I caution you for any project, any assignment that I give you, start when I give it to you. Don't wait. I know there's other courses you got going on. I know you're going to say Tom's course. That's me, Tom. Tom's course is going to be, it's okay. I got lots of time. Guys and girls, the devil is in the details. When I give you, your criteria, you're going to look at it and you're going to go, oh my God, right? Because now, in the beginning, it's going to go, oh, that's easy. And then when you're going to look at your documentation requirements, you're going to be like, holy crap. I don't know a better way to say that, right? So please do not wait, right? It's going to just work against you. I'm not trying to scare you here. I'm just being honest, because in the real world, you're going to be getting like 3, 4, 5 assignments all at the same time. Projects, call them what you like, and they're all due around the same time, and it's nothing different than what you're doing here, except maybe a little bit more leeway in terms of negotiation. So again, we're probably going to be around the exam time. You're going to get this exam around midterm. Midterm is kind of funny this semester. Our midterm happens, for those of you who haven't signed in, please sign in. And if you want to pass it back to the other people as well. Yeah, there's room over there next to Albert. He's lonely, right? So the midterm exam is going to happen around, I say, week 7. And our midterm is a weird split this semester. It's going to split probably after week 6 or something like that, or week 7. I'm not sure which week it is. I took a picture of it yesterday. It's on the wall. Every semester it changes our mid-semester break, if you will, right? Calling it reading week, whatever. So I'll let you know what that is exactly and what we're going to do around that. But around midterm, around week 7 is where we have kind of a midterm test, right? Again, 2 parts. There'll be some kind of quiz and a practical piece that you have to complete in 3 hours, right? I'm notorious for giving bonuses to people who finish first, right? So if you're really good, who hasn't signed in? Pass it on down for those people. Sorry, Albert, I took your job. If you finish first in an exam with me, I'll give you a bonus. It's like a hackathon, right? Which means you have to study, you have to practice, and that's what it's all about here. Okay, so let's recap, because I told you a lot of stuff all at once. One, please, 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 whatever you do, right, try and bring your own machine if you have one, right? It makes a huge difference in terms of development, right? Yes, you can use the computer in front of you. Yes, you can install programs in the computer in front of you. But no, you don't have a lot of control of what's going to happen to the computer in front of you, right? So that's a bad thing. We're going to be using TypeScript, which means there's going to be some special installation requirements for your machine, even the machine in front of you, right? Whether it's the computer you're using at school or your computer, right? We're going to be using Visual Studio 2013. Please don't use Visual Studio 2015 preview. I would recommend highly not to do that. Please don't download and install Windows 10, preview, or because it's not really at release candidate stage yet. I don't recommend that either. Use Windows, anything less than Windows 8 is fine, Windows 8 and below, if you're going to do it. But what if you're the person, you put up your hand, you're like, Tom, I hate Windows, right? I hate Microsoft, right? I don't want to program in Visual Studio. I want to use something else. Okay, use something else, right? But at the end of the day, you still got to do TypeScript, and it's more challenging outside of Visual Studio, which we'll see. Okay. And again, from a structure, if you look at the old structure, I'm going to show you the outline, but the outline isn't accurate. I'm going to be honest with you. It's something that we're changing. I'm working with Professor Joanne to change that up. It's going to happen. Like if you noticed, last time it was written is last summer. I'm going to be changing it up with her this summer. We're going to select a different book. And if you notice, the assignment structure is slightly different as well. There's many more written tests. I don't do a lot of written tests. You're going to get one, right? Your midterm, and that's it. Why? Only because again, I'm more project-based learning, and that's the way I do things. You will have a final project, and the final project will be weighted 30% in that range, plus a presentation, right? You're going to present your final project, which is worth 10%. So your final project, 30 plus 10, is like 40% of your mark, right? So please don't slough it off and go, it's okay. I did my midterm, I did a couple of assignments. Hold on a second, I'm going to pass, right? You won't pass if you don't do your final. Just to let you know, this won't happen. Chances are, right? Or if you pass, you're going to pass with very close to 50, which is bad, right? So it'll affect your GPA. One more thing from my notes perspective. If you notice, if you do get this outline, if you are able to get it online, I know it's available places. It tells you step by step how to, it goes through one chapter at a time, and we hit like 10 different technologies. We're not going to be doing that here, right? Actually, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be hitting something called, there's only going to be one API we're really going to focus on. Why? I want you guys to be really good at it, right? And I recommend you go to our site here. This is the site that the API we're going to be using, Create.js. This is the one we've chosen. I could have chosen different ones. I could have chosen, from a game framework perspective, Phaser. That's a very popular one these days. I like Phaser. It's just more challenging to use. And if you haven't done any web game development before, Phaser increases the level of complexity a little bit, for some of you. So Create.js is going to be the framework we're going to be using, and I'm going to build it with you. I'm going to start off very, very small today. We're going to actually do some of it today, some hands-on. I'm not going to just be talking, because that's boring as crap, right? I don't like that. And again, just be reminded that everything I say, right, that's why I can be watching what I say here, right, because I'm live, right, is recorded on YouTube. Everything I say, everything we do, all my screen clicks, all that stuff, everything we talk about in assignments, it's all on YouTube for you. And we'll talk about where it is. Any questions around this stuff? I know it's a lot. I just said a lot. I just kind of blah. I said a lot of stuff all at once. And the reason why I'm saying all that stuff is to let you know that, hey, this is not a web course that you're going to be building some simple website. It's not like that. We're going to make a game. So by the end of the semester, you're going to build actually a few different games. We're going to build a slot machine. That's one of the ones we're going to do. We're also going to build a side scroller, right? That's one thing we're going to do. And then the last one is going to be a game of your own. So if you have an idea of what you want to do, start thinking about it now. Who doesn't play games? Who's like really bad? I just don't play games. Okay, so you're going to have challenges because, if you don't play games, I'm being honest, right? If you're not a game player, if you never played games before, and it's okay not to say it, right? The challenge is you need to understand games in order for you to make games, right? So we need to play some games. I recommend that you download and play some games. It's really important, right? I don't know how better to say that, right? No, if you haven't played them, that's a bad thing. So let me show you a couple of games that what I mean by games. There's one that we made, one that I made for the class last year, actually. If you go to starbase12.heroku.com, right, this is the game I kind of put together for the class last year, right? I did it with Create.js technologies. I built the scene here that you're seeing with Blender, right? We'll talk about that a little bit as well, and different tools. And it's an interactive game, right? Got an instruction screen, right? Yes, I stole the music. Okay, so different weapons and so on, right? We go back. If I press play.
Entering sector 0.1.
Here's the start off script, right? Oh. Nice and easy for the first one. And so on. You can play it yourself. Starbase12.herokuapp.com. If you go there, this is the app that I made with Create.js, right? It's not that difficult to make, believe it or not. This is crazy. It took me about 2 weeks, right? For you guys, that means 2 weeks for me means a little bit more time for you. It uses object-oriented technologies, and one thing that if you notice, if you want to go and check out the code, I have it up online for you under GitHub. If you go to my GitHub, and again, my GitHub, if you have to know my last name, and you have to see my ugly mug over here, right? But basically, if you go to GitHub, right, and if you look under me, so my last name, Tsiriopoulos, right, there's the link. And if you go to my repositories here, and if you look up Starbase 12, if I start typing Starbase 12, right, there's different versions of it, and I actually show you here how to build each different version until you get to the final one, right, which is Starbase 12 version 4, which is the last one that I deployed to Heroku, right? So one of the pieces we're going to do is I want you to get a couple of things. One of the things you need to understand is let's get a GitHub account. And the first assignment today, right now, before we start anything else, is go up on GitHub if you don't have it already, right, and get yourself signed up to GitHub and get yourself a GitHub account. You need it because it's going to be required. All right, so please go up online. Yeah, I know this. I know it's early. It's 8:30 in the morning. I'm getting you to do something today, but it's worth 1% of your final mark as a bonus if you do it today and you hand it in. You can't just hand it in, though, right? You can't just make your GitHub account and hand it in. And by the way, don't give me github.com as your link. You'll get 0, right? I need your actual link. Like my link for GitHub is, and you guys can't see it because it's cut off, but it's my last name, github.com, and my last name. That's my username. Please send me your username. And the way to send it to me when you submit on in Dropbox, right, up online there, right, eCentennial. Well, you're just going to go up on eCentennial, MyCentennial, and you're going to go into your Dropbox for this course, and there's going to be one for GitHub sign up. You're going to submit a text file, right, with the link to your GitHub. All right, that's what I want. A note about GitHub. I will not be checking the link for your GitHub from this link you're giving me today. I want you to sign up. This is proof that you've signed up today. You're getting 1% for proving to me that you signed up for GitHub. That's huge, right? Some people don't give you 1% for doing a darn assignment, right? So this is your assignment today, right now. Go up on GitHub, sign up. Please don't pick some weird name that doesn't make sense to you. This could be your developer name in the future, right? If you're going to be a developer, you want this name to mean something for you as we go forward. So GitHub sign up, that's the first part. The other things I want you to think about is, as we move forward, I'm going to get you to do some other signing up for bonus marks, because eventually I want you guys to deploy your app to Heroku, right, which is a cloud-based app, or platform as a service, if you will, right? So we're going to talk about that as we move towards forward into the course. But for now, github.com, and then set up your account. So let's do that now. In the meantime, while you guys are doing that, I'm going to stop recording, and then I'll give you a chance to do that.